Before we dive into this next episode of Both Sides of the Check, let me take a moment to recognize our sponsor, Miss Cat Consulting. We help people that are looking to start their own business take your concept to company. So if you're interested in learning more, make sure you go to connectwithmisscat.com. In the meantime, sit back, relax, and we're going to pull back the curtain of entrepreneurship while we sit down with another great check writer. What's up, everybody? It is your girl, Miss Cat, your coach, accountability partner, and teacher. And we're here, yet another episode, yet another great check writer, yet here I am in the flesh. All right. And before we get started, y'all take note. Strategy is the new hustle. The shirts are out. So make sure that you go to merch.connectwithmisscat and get your t-shirts today because they're flying off the shelves. Okay, but enough with me. I got a great guest here, and I don't want to, take up too much time yip yapping. Go ahead and introduce yourself for those who may not know you.
Okay, I'm attorney Warren Fitzgerald Muhammad, native Houstonian from Acres Home, the Fofo.
Okay. So, attorney, what type of attorney are you?
Primarily personal injury and some business consultations and litigation. I'm a litigator it's what I do is litigate.
Okay.
So, personal injury litigation, personal injury settlement negotiations, criminal defense, and that pretty much consumes all of it.
Okay, so let me ask you this. What made you decide that that's the path, the journey that you wanted to take?
Well, I've gone the circuitous route. I've done practically every type of legal case you can think of,
Okay.
from personal injury to criminal defense to business litigation, business structures, uh, corporations, LLCs, you name it, entertainment law, setting up record labels, negotiating record contracts, litigating intellectual property disputes,
Okay.
medical malpractice. I've pretty much done it all.
Seem like somebody we need to have on our team. Look, on our side for sure. So before getting into law, or was that always life? Like what was life like before all of that?
Since I was 17.
Wow.
Yeah, I decided that I wanted to be an attorney in the 11th grade at the age of 17 while I was still in high school. So it's been a direct path for me.
A direct path. Okay. So is it safe to say that entrepreneurship has always, I mean, law, I get that, but what about the entrepreneurship side? Like, what did you work for a law firm first
Mhm.
and then got your feet wet and then decided to branch out? Like, how did this transition into full-time entrepreneurship?
That's a very good question. I'm from a family of entrepreneurs.
Okay.
I grew up born and raised, grew up in Acres Home, and the era that I grew up in Acres Home, it was a community of primarily entrepreneurs.
Okay.
Acres Home was largely self-reliant with small businesses,
Gotcha.
and everyone in my family was in some type of small business.
Mm.
My grandfather owned a grocery store. My aunts and my grandmother owned restaurants. My mother and father owned a cafe. So I never saw someone getting up going to punch a clock. I saw people establish their own business and work their behind off in making that business grow and develop. So it's what I grew up with.
Gotcha.
So when I went to law school, I'll never forget they had a point in time when different governmental entities and corporations would come to the law school to take interviews, concerning employment. And I skipped the whole process because I'd found a little clerk position with an attorney.
Okay.
And the counselors cornered me and asked me why wouldn't I go to interview.
Mm.
And I told them I didn't need an interview because I'm going to business for myself.
I know that's right.
So that was it. I finished law school, took my bar examination, and went directly into law practice.
I love
Hung my
that.
shingle.
I love that. Man, I love that. Now, let me ask you this because I am a single parent of two girls, right? I've been an entrepreneur for over 10 years, not quite since I was 17, but I've been out here for a while, right? And one thing that I realize with my girls is it's like they stray away from entrepreneurship because that's all they, seen. And I think that they feel like it's forced down their throat. At any given time, did you feel like, man, this is just my life because this is what I was accustomed to? Or was it really just like an admiration of something that wanted
Right,
to do?
right. It was an admiration for me.
Okay.
Um, and other people in my family saw the struggle, the long hours,
Mhm.
the hard working that's necessary, and they shied away from it and decided, go get a good paying job,
For
get the
sure.
benefits,
Mhm.
you know. But I think it has to be something that comes from within you. No one can choose that for you.
For sure.
It has to be something that is innate to yourself that you really want to do because it's a hard road.
Oh, for
Yeah,
sure.
and you have to be willing to go through the ups and downs, the struggles, the failures, and you have to learn from each failure, and you have to have a don't quit, I'm going to do it attitude.
For
Because
sure.
it's not for the weak of heart.
We talk about that all the time on this show. I bring on so this show, all we feature and highlight is full-time entrepreneurs because I just genuinely don't think that we get enough, accolade. A lot of people talk about how things are shutting down, people ain't make it, but what about us that did? What about us that actually made it through, So for me, I like to honor those that are, putting in the work and hustling and getting it out the mud for sure. So yeah, so kudos to you for pressing on. But with that being said, this is both sides of the check. And as a check writer, sometimes you write that check and it come back non-sufficient funds, right? So tell us about a time, throughout because you have a journey, right?
Right.
So tell us about a time that, you're full time, 10 toes down, and maybe something may have happened. You know, I don't know if you ever had that time where you like, man, enough is enough. Like, you know what I mean? Like this, look, a job and some benefits don't look bad right about now. Tell us about a time in your path that maybe that has happened to you.
Well, I've never had the occasion where I doubted myself in terms of being an entrepreneur and working for myself.
Okay.
I've never entertained that.
Okay.
But I've had some pretty deep experiences with those checks.
Mm.
Uh,
Tell us about it. Look.
on the drop, I made the comment, "Don't spend the money until you have the money."
For sure.
Well, that was a whole story behind that
Okay.
because I was in a situation one time where I had an obligation that I needed to take care of,
Okay.
and it was time sensitive.
Mm.
So I had created another situation that was going to pay me,
Mm.
and I actually went and I picked up a check from a client, and on the basis of getting that check, I deposited it, and on the basis of that, I wrote another check for this obligation.
Wow. Wow.
The check I received from the client bounced,
Jesus
and it was
Christ.
a domino effect. So the
Mm.
check that I wrote for the obligation that I had came back NSF.
Lord, Lord, Lord.
And then I found myself in front of a judge and just all kind of, consequences coming at me because of the failure of that check to clear.
Wow.
And
Wow.
but I deposited my client's check, but I didn't wait for it to clear. I didn't make sure the
Mm.
money was in the bank. I said, "Well, I'm
Mm.
good. They just paid me on the basis of this. I can pay this other thing." That's why I say you can't spend the money until you actually have it.
That's good right there. And I know that that's a literal thing, like what that literally happened, but there's so many ways that you could spin that because, at the end of the day, you thought the money, I mean, the client pay, this is a client, you know what I mean? Like who would have think that they'll give you a check, the check bounced, then, so I think this is a lesson learned, especially for those that are new in business and entrepreneurship. Like you said, wait, just give it 3 to 5 business days, right? Let's just wait for the check to clear first before we go
So you
spend.
right.
So
And it wasn't intentional.
For sure.
Because I'm sure that person was relying on some money that was paid to them,
Yeah,
and actually was a friend. So I went back to him and said, listen, you've got to make this good.
for
And he
sure.
said, oh, I'm sorry.
Mm,
He moved some things around, made it good. But by then I had to face some consequences.
yeah,
And we
yeah.
ended up getting it all worked out. But it was a
It
lesson
could
learned. Yeah.
for sure, and not necessarily that it could have took you out. I don't know the magnitude of the funds, but your reputation, being on the line, so on and so. You got to go apologize, to the other client.
Right.
You know, NSFs at the bank that might have messed up the relationship, with the bank. So that one minor misstep, could have potentially, I won't say taking you out, but it could have been worse than what it was. So, I appreciate you sharing that, because these are the things that when we are new in business, like nobody talks about
Right.
that. Nobody talks about the little baby misstep that could have,
Right.
overflowed and took it to the next level.
Right. And a lesson learned also was the value of communication.
Mm,
Because even though I had this payment, this check from a
mm,
client,
yep.
probably a phone call to
Mm,
say, listen, I need 24 hours,
for sure. For
48
sure.
hours,
For sure.
just the communication
For sure.
rather than assuming that everything was going to flow and be okay. It- In hindsight, on that, it probably would have been best for me to just make a phone call.
Hmm.
I said, I know this is due on this date. I need 24 hours. I just got a check, da da da.
Yeah.
And most people will accommodate that. And I probably could have avoided,
The
a lot
whole
of hassle. Yeah.
understood. And that's why entrepreneurship is so unique, because there's a lot of things that we just have to learn in real time.
Right, right,
You get what
right,
I'm saying? Like nobody said, okay, if somebody give you a hot check, like this is what you do. You know what I mean? Like, so some things you just learn in real time. But at the end of the day, I think that it was a little embarrassing, but I bet you never made that mistake again. Right? You know what I mean? So, those lessons that we learn in real time most definitely shape us up
right.
to where we are today.
And I like what you're saying, learning in real time, because entrepreneurship is definitely a real time learning, hands on experience. I don't think there's any school that can prepare you for everything.
That is true.
I know going to law school. I went to a law school. They were outstanding at teaching us the law, but they didn't really teach us the business side of practicing law.
Hmm.
And it wasn't until I jumped in, hung my shingle, realizing, oh, I actually need a trust account. No one
Mm.
had taught me anything about a trust account as opposed to your
Just
regular
real bit.
operating account.
Gotcha.
So that was, I had to learn that the hard way,
Eh,
and I think a lot of the institutions could do better
mm.
in preparing entrepreneurs, because the focus, and I've been around a long time, so I don't know what they're teaching,
It's
current
the
day.
same. Look.
Okay, but in most of our schools that our people attend,
Yeah.
they are teaching us and training us to get jobs.
For sure. For sure.
You know,
Teaching us how to be slaves.
yeah,
Look
yeah.
to the man. Look,
And they're
basically.
not really teaching us how to get it out the mud, as you
Yes.
say.
Yes.
And as a matter of fact, there's a upcoming sports drink called "Get It
Oh,
the mud,"
really?
out the
Okay.
mud.
Okay.
Give a
Okay.
shout out to that.
Look, shout out
But
to the drink. Look.
yeah, we could do better, and that's something that we do through our nonprofit.
Okay.
Is to work to have trainings and workshops and seminars on entrepreneurship
I love that.
rather than just
I
getting
love
that
that.
done.
And I was gonna ask you, as you was mentioning that, I was gonna ask you, throughout your journey, I know that you're formally trained, but were there any mentors or any coaches like that maybe helped you throughout the journey? Because like you said, this can't be formally trained, and I know that we come from a school of hard knocks where we have to learn the hard way, but through your journey, were there any people that say, you know what, come, let me
Yeah,
put you on my back, or
yeah.
put you under this umbrella? Did you have any of that through your
I did,
time? Okay.
I did, and I'm thankful for them.
Mhm.
And I would advise anyone looking to go into business, be an entrepreneur. If you don't have a mentor, find one.
For sure.
You know, and I sought out mentors,
Mm.
and a number of times I was rejected. and said, "I got it on my own. You got to get it on your own."
Oh, wow.
Believe me, that attitude is out there. It
Yeah,
exists.
I got you. Or
And
nowadays it's like, well, pay me. I
yeah,
think it's the yeah.
yeah. But I was fortunate enough to while I was still in law school to get some uh, clerking positions
Okay.
with attorneys, and I called their name. One was Leonard Barksdale. He's no longer with us, and he took me under his. Actually, there was another attorney that hired me,
Hmm.
and when Friday came for payday, he didn't pay me, so he just rather he just
Wow.
fired me. Rather than pay me, he fired me.
Like, good Lord.
So the other attorney in the office saw me walking around, my face down. I'm looking at my feet, and he's like, "Homeboy, what's wrong?" I said, "Man, I thought I was getting paid today. I got fired." So he took me and said, "Look, I'll let you work for me.
Mm,
I can't guarantee you money every week.
for sure.
I'll pay you when I can. If I can't,
Yeah,
And I was like, "Man, look, I just want to learn."
I got you.
And that's something that I have encountered with more recent people that want jobs or
Mm,
internships. They all want to get paid when they
mm,
really don't know anything.
for sure.
And I was like, I'll teach you everything, but I'm not gonna pay you to teach you.
For sure.
I,
Like, ain't it old? The old school say the game is to be sold, not to be told.
right.
Look, so
Yeah, so uh, I would just advise those who desire to become entrepreneurs, find a mentor. Don't focus on pay me right now.
for sure.
Learn the craft, learn the business, so that you can know how to do it, yourself. And don't be so money focused. And I know I'm probably sounding like some old guy who's out of touch,
No, no.
but this is real. This is real talk.
No, it's definitely real talk because at the end of the day, the 100,000 hours that you put in to that craft, it's priceless.
Yeah,
There's not an amount of money that anyone could pay you for the years and the blood, the sweat, the tears, you know what I'm saying, that you put into your craft. So no, it shouldn't be just, you know, it has to be valued,
yeah,
right? So I totally agree that when people come, looking for wisdom, it's not always monetary. Like, you can get more out of it,
yeah.
especially if you know what to do with it.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
that's more than the $10, $15 an hour you're
For
gonna make.
sure.
And I want to give a shout out to another attorney, Tom Boston,
Okay.
because he also was instrumental. Because I was just a hustler by nature, so I had a part-time job with one attorney. I got with Tom and got a part-time job with him, and he paid me if and when he could.
Mm.
But I was learning from all those guys, and they actually played a trick on me one time.
Oh Lord.
Tommy told me to go down to the court, just go before the judge and ask for some more time and everything. So I was at the office with a shirt similar to this
Mm.
and, some slacks. And dummy me, I just went straight down to the court, went in front of the judge, and he said, "What are you doing in front of me with you have to have on a jacket or a suit?"
Wow.
And when I got back, I told Tom, I was the butt of the joke, because they knew what they were doing.
Yeah. Yeah.
But that was one of those
Learning lessons.
yeah,
Look, learning the hard way. But look, you made it through.
yeah,
Look,
yeah,
so kudos to you for making it through and getting through, the hardest parts, I would imagine, through business, So for those that are watching and they're like, man, okay, if he can do it, I can do it, right? Leave them with some form of deposit, some type of encouragement. Like, what would be some words for someone they're thinking about starting a business, or maybe they even started, but they're just like, man, I don't know if this is for me. I don't know. I just don't know. What would you say?
Well, uh, several things.
Okay, I want
One
it
one
all.
is if you really want to be an entrepreneur, you got to burn the bridges,
Okay.
sink the boats.
Okay.
You know what I mean by that? There's
I
no
do,
go.
but I do, but tell
Right,
them.
right. Once you cross the bridge and you burn it, there's no going back.
I love it.
You
Yep.
know, you sailed in to battle and sink the boats.
Hmm.
You got to stand your ground and fight.
I like that.
So it is you really have a commitment to it, and you have to have an unceasing, unfailing confidence in yourself.
I love that. I love that.
And then you have to put in the work. You have to study your craft, study your industry, study that which it is that surrounds your entrepreneurship desire because there's no sub. You have to know what you're doing. You have to get the skills and the acumen to be successful, and that takes staying up at night,
Mm.
going to conferences,
Yep.
going to seminars, networking with other people who do it, learning, from that crowd or that group, being humble enough to take advice,
And
being brave enough to, bump your head and get
And
up,
that's
keep going.
and that's good too because always being a student, I think that sometimes we get into, like, oh, I've been doing this, I've been doing this for 30 years, and it's like, okay, cool, but there may be a tip or something, just one little piece of nugget that might change your whole game.
Right,
So always be a student and like you said, be humble to receive because you just never know who might have that next jewel
right,
for you for sure. So that's that's
absolutely,
that's good. Keep
absolutely.
going. What else you got?
Put technology to use.
Okay.
I mean, I'm a fan of AI now,
Okay.
and I've,
Okay.
I've practiced law for 46 years.
Wow.
So,
And
so when I first started practicing law, there were no fax machines,
mm.
and now I'm using AI.
Okay.
Not as a crush, but as a tool.
For sure. For sure.
You have to know how to use it. So, I strive to be on the cutting edge,
Mm.
technology wise,
I like that.
because I'm not a big firm. I don't have a host of employees and assistants and research assistants and all of that. So I utilize what I try to utilize is the most advanced means and methods to stay on the cutting edge of my industry.
Okay. Okay. So, you know, what keeps you going? Like, you get what I'm saying? Like, what after all these years, like what keeps you going? And I guess just more to the people, like for those that started and they getting tired. Because sometimes you know how that go.
Yeah.
You know how that goes. So for those that are like, I've been doing this, I'm tired. What from your experience, what keeps you going?
That's really funny. 'Cause I mean, every day I wake up and say,
It's
uh,
that dog in you.
you know, I'm through with this. I've done it, been there, done this.
Mhm.
But it really, and I'll speak personally, it's my love for people.
Okay.
So even when it's the dog days and all that,
Mhm.
when I'm able to help someone in what I do, and most times it's an unforgiving practice.
Mhm.
It's very seldom you get any
The pat on the back.
pat on the back
Mhm.
or the gratitude, but you have to be able to see it when
Yes,
you accomplish something for someone in what you do,
for sure.
and that's what keeps me going.
I love that. I love that. The love for the people. Y'all heard it here first. Both sides of the check. I love that. Well, I just want to say thank you so much for just being here and just blessing this platform with your energy and just your advice and your wisdom. For those that want to stay connected with you, they want to, learn more about you, maybe even get some legal services.
Mhm.
How do we do so?
Okay, the best way is through my website,
Okay.
WFM. Let me look directly. WFMlawfirm.com.
Okay.
My email is warren at WFMlawfirm.com. So if you have a question, an issue, need some advice, you can always shoot me an email or you can go on my website,
Okay.
WFMlawfirm.com. We have intake forms and a lot more information than I can give, in this
Okay.
brief time on
Understood.
who I am, what I do, the depth of the services that we offer.
Understood. Now, for those that didn't catch it in the beginning, I don't want to sound redundant, but you don't want people just calling you about any old thing. So, if I need some law services, what do you specialize in?
Okay, I limit my practice primarily to personal injury,
Okay.
car wrecks, 18-wheel crashes, medical malpractice, medical negligence. If you're injured by someone else's fault, that's what I do.
Okay.
I'm also have done for decades criminal defense
Okay.
and business litigation. If it goes to the courthouse, I go to the courthouse.
Okay. Okay.
But
Say.
but but I do this though. I encourage people, regardless of what it is, feel free to give me a call
Okay, because
because
you
what
never know.
because you never know. And then what I try to do is if someone has an issue, say in wills or probate or something outside of my specific area,
Wheelhouse.
I'll try to help you find competent, trustworthy representation.
I
Because
love
there's
that.
a big network of attorneys. We know each other, and sometimes we know who to go to and we know who not to go to.
For sure.
And
Okay.
you can ride down the street and see a billboard and think that's
That's
you
the
know
one. Look.
you know
Run away. Look.
yeah, right.
Gotcha. Understood. Understood. Now you mentioned before we go, because you kind of slid that in there, and I just want to take note. You said something about a nonprofit or something of that
Yes.
nature. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yes, I'm the chairman of the board and the CEO of the Acres Home Chamber for Business and Economic Development.
Okay.
And we're located right in the heart of Acres Homes.
Okay.
We have our own facility. I think it's about a 6,000 square foot building with where our office is located. We have an event center
Okay.
that's available for rent for repasts, workshops, seminars, weddings, parties, you name it. It's big enough, with full digital technology, digital screens, amplification, everything. And we also have, as part of the nonprofit, we have our farmers market.
Oh,
On the
that's
third Saturday of every month, we
okay.
have a farmers market where vendors come in with fresh produce, vendors with their artisans, making soaps, spices, clothes. I mean, you name it, we have people that are making it. And these are budding entrepreneurs.
I love
And I'm
that.
happy to say there's a number who have come to our farmers market and actually uh, got a start there and now are in business for themselves. And last but not least, we have our own farm at our farmers market, a hydroponic farm.
Hold up. Hold up, sir. Now you see how I asked him, tell me about yourself. How did they a whole farm, sir? A whole entire farm.
A whole
Wow.
Yeah, and it's on a strip of land
Okay.
behind our building,
Okay.
uh, maybe 6 feet wide and 30 feet long. So we were thinking about what can we do with this strip of land, and we were fortunate enough to be introduced to another nonprofit, I can't think of the flower, the Metallic Sunflower
Okay. Okay.
Corporation,
Okay.
which is helmed by CC. We call
Okay.
him CC. And when I tell you a green thumb, he can
Okay.
just stick his finger in the ground if something starts.
I
But
love
he
it.
he he built a hydroponic farm. If people don't know, that's where the plants don't go in the ground. There are
Mm,
rails with little holes and wa- water with minerals and stuff go through, and the roots suck up the water and they grow. And I mean, in just a couple of months, it's got to be 200 or 300 plants.
I love that.
Everything from Swiss chard to bok choy, spinach, uh, basil, you name it. It's growing right there in that little strip of land.
I love that.
So if we could get a couple of acres and put it under cultivation, we could feed the whole community.
I love that. Well, look, y'all heard it here first. Both sides of the check. We thank you so much for joining us. It has been a privilege and honor. And guys, I just need y'all to stay connected, stay tuned in, because we do this every single Monday at 6 a.m. We bring on a great check writer, someone who is out here doing it in real time. So, guys, every Monday, 6 a.m., you can catch me. If you have a concept that you're trying to take to company, if you have an idea that you need to start making some income with, make sure you hit me up, okay? Miss Cat, your coach, your accountability partner and teacher. You can find me at Connect with Miss Cat on all my socials, or you can go to my website, connectwithmisscat.com. But I'm gonna go ahead and tap out just, for a little while until I bring on the next check writer. But I'll see you guys next Monday at 6 a.m.